Hello, this is a presentation about Assyrian Parliament by Council for Assyrian Parliament. Why to create a Assyrian Parliament? Assyrian Parliament would be the best way to unite the Assyrians. It also will be the best way to represent us in the world today. As we know, countries usually are represented by their government in various international arenas, and parliament would be a better way to approach other countries and represent a nation. The best way to protect our common interest. Parliament provides the tools and provides the platform for us to civilly dispute and argue ways to find solutions for our problems. So parliament would be the best way to protect our common interests. The best way also toward establishing a territory for Assyrians. Assyrians aspire to have a district or a self-administration region in ancestral lands of Nineveh in modern-day Iraq. And if there is such a thing to be ever achieved, Parliament would be a very good tool to help the parties and organizations in Iraq to achieve that goal. Who are our current representatives? Currently, sometimes we are represented by church and clergies in various capacities. They called to summits and meetings in Europe and other places on behalf of Assyrians. Sometimes charities do that. Sometimes political organizations represent us. Various political organizations having opposing views about various issues, and they all try to send representatives to Washington, D.C. and European countries and persuade them one way or the other. Federations sometimes do that in their country, like Federation of Assyrians in the United States or Federation of Assyrians in Australia or in Europe. Sometimes movements do that, like Demand for Action or other movements that created because of some necessities do lobby for their cause. And of course, they hire lobbyists, professional lobbyists to do that for them. And political parties, of course, do that more than others. And same are current protection forces that created to protect people in Iraq and Syria. We are scattered around the world. We used to live in Middle East, but uh, in modern day, most of the Syrians have left Iran and Turkey, and some of them still in Iraq and Syria, but the population dwindling because of massacres and various atrocities falling on Assyrians because of terrorist terrorist groups active in the region. Assyrians have immigrated to Germany, to Sweden, other countries in Europe, and United States and Australia, and basically other modern democratic countries as much as possible. So Assyrians, it's harder now to create a global organization, but that might be the only way to protect the rights of the Assyrians. Assyrian demographics. Assyrians scattered around the world. In North America, about 260,000 people, and of course these are all estimates. By no means we can stand by these numbers, but the, as best as we could estimate them based on different census data and church membership data and organization estimates and best guesses from people active in those countries. We came up with this approximate number of about 1 million people, and if we have 10,000 population per one representative, or one representative per 10,000 Assyrians, we reached a number of about 100 representatives throughout the world. There are a lot of state nations. State nations are are countries with typically homogeneous people, uh, people who have close, relatively close language and culture and race, and these are state nations. But there are some nations that are called stateless nations, and typically they don't have any valid organization to represent them. If Assyrians can achieve this task of creating a parliament, would be one of the first stateless nations to have created a parliament. Of course, in past there were some stateless nations that now they are not stateless anymore. And for instance, Kurds here are shown as stateless nations, but we know that northern Iraq is pretty much uh, its autonomy under the Kurdish government. So many of them have moved more toward the state nations and have some sort of authority in the region. But in past, like Palestinians and Kurds, they were stateless nations. One central representation and governance. Assyrian parliament could be that binding tool for us to bind us around the world. We we have a lot of issues and a lot of common interests. Our language, the refugees, more than 500,000 refugees scattered around the world, our cultural interests, and our heritage, our language, our economy, in especially Middle East countries where a lot of Assyrians are devastated by the war, by the internal war and terroristic um, damages, that this parliament can facilitate some relief for them. What is the what's the Council for Assyrian Parliament? Council for Assyrian Parliament is a open door organization. It has a down to top approach. People as volunteers enter a local election center in each country, and the, those who are able to lead the rest will be elevated to lead in these 7 work groups as organizers of the whole effort, and then few will be elected as executive board and board of directors to oversee the whole effort. The work groups are legal work group, which writes all the rules for the election and the bylaws and all sort of rules, and basically all the writing and reasoning happens in this group. And these are people who have political experience, have been in governmental positions, and have studied law or related subjects. Public relation are people who try hard to present this in various manners on TV, social media, and all other venues. Election work group is a group that facilitates the elections throughout internet or in-person voting. And election work group actually oversees all the election centers in various countries, although some are related to the work to the corresponding work group, like fundraisers in each city or each country, sort of reporting to the main fundraising work group, or public relation in each city and country is communication with the central work group, but they are all connected to the council through the election work group because these are all centers that run the election more more than anything else. Fundraising, human resources, and academic and experts advising the council are in these other work groups. Political parties give their counseling and their advice through an advisory committee to the board of directors directly. These are the bylaws, some of the bylaws of the council available on our website, and you can read through them. The effort has been to keep this council open door democratic with elections, internal elections, to make sure that those who have the merits and uh, have the best abilities to rise to the top and lead the organization. Uh, it's a temporary organization. It will cease to activity after the election of the parliament. It's a diverse and balanced group. We try to have from all sides and all parties and viewpoints in this organization. These are some of our members. Of course, there are many more members in each country, but these are some of the main shakers and movers of this organization, from those who are experts in law and writing the bylaws and election rules, to advisors, to experts in computer and online voting, and election center representatives in various countries. And these are other tasks like advocacy, PR, and fundraising. We have a Facebook page, Assyrian Parliament. You can look it up, and we put all the information about our efforts there for the public to look and to comment. Election rules are tried to be minimum, and it's very simple to keep the minimum to ensure a bigger outcome. The voters have to be of Assyrian origin. It's not necessarily 100%. It could be 10%, 5%, whatever percent, as long as a person believes he's Assyrian and people in that city or the region verify him as an Assyrian person because of his history. That is enough for us. We're not looking into um, a proof of 100% Assyrian lineage. A minimum age of 18 is needed to vote. The voters have to fill the form and submit it, and can only vote in your residence region. So people cannot vote across the countries. They have to vote in their region, and will be verified by volunteers. And and these are some more rules about how the election should be done. Candidates have to be 25 years of age or older, and they have to fill the form and submit it, and they have to uh, be not an employee of any other government, and there should be at least 50 people who um, endorse them or support them. There must be 50 people who they be used as a reference that support that candidate, so candidate could be eligible for running as a candidate. Election process chart shown here. We started 2014. We did all this. We wrote some election rules. These are not all complete by any means, but enough to start the election process and voter registration. And meanwhile, election rules will be also improved. Everything will be improved by connection with different groups and political parties and contribution of all people, still improving until December of 2017, where we hope that we can start the elections, finish the verification of the voters, start the election, and we have the Assyrian parliament hopefully installed by June of 2018. Online registration can be done through our website. AssyrianParliament.org. If you go there and you look for the election registration, you can find the election registration form. It comes in various languages and it could be filled, and same can be done through the mobile devices. When you click on the election registration, you will see various languages that you can fill the form with: Farsi, Arabic, Russian, English, Assyrian, and Syriac, both Western and Eastern dialect, Swedish, and German. This is an example. These are just meant to be an example. The age, name, the city and country, and email are the only information that we need. These are minimal information to reduce the risk. Even if, God forbid, these information get compromised, we hope that damage will not be substantial, because they're pretty much public information: your name and your email and your city of residence and age. We don't want the date of birth, we just want age. So these are minimal information. Although these are secure, hopefully secure pages that could be, let's say, encrypt the data while in transmission. So it's again a safe approach with the minimal information. Also, registration could be done in person. There will be some organizations that working with us. We soon will introduce them in each city, and you can go to that organization on the days that they announce it and write your name and register your name. That could be a local Assyrian organization or a local Assyrian church, or even a public place like a public library or a coffee shop, or any place that you can meet a person, and through a computer or cell phone or a handheld device, the registration could be done through our volunteers. Verification of voters will be done by locals. If locals think you are as a Syrian, you are an Assyrian. If they don't think you're an Assyrian, you are not. So if you're an Assyrian, there is someone somewhere knows your dad, knows your past, an uncle, and a priest, an activist, family member, friend. So, we have to verify you through your connections, and because Assyrians are a small community, very well connected, it will be easy for the most part to verify majority, 99% of the people, through just local volunteers. We assuming that for every 300 Assyrians, one volunteer is enough. So for 1,000 Assyrians, we need just 3 or 4 volunteers, and we hope with that number of volunteers we can verify with that ratio of 1 to 300, we can verify all the voters. Once the registration is completed and verification is done, and candidates nominate themselves, and they have done their campaign, the election day will come, and then you can do your voting based either on your handheld device or your computer. We will send you a secure link. The company that runs the election is not an Assyrian company. It will be a non-Assyrian, as independent as possible, and the elections would be monitored by a non-Assyrian NGO, like some sort of a organization that is internationally responsible for this sort of stuff, like elections. And Jimmy Carter Center is an example, or UPNO or UN affiliated organizations could be one of the organizations that will be monitoring the elections to testify of the health of the election and the correctness of the results. Election could be done in person. Again, you can go to one of the election centers that will be announced and cast your vote there. After the election, the Council for Assyrian Parliament will transfer all the data and files and information to the Parliament. And by the start of the Parliament, this council will stop its operation, and it's up to the Parliament from that point on to do what is needed. with this council or cease to desist this council and create a new organization for the elections or whatever is needed. They will pass laws that will rule, will be basically constitution of the parliament, uh, guiding the parliament through its course of actions and um, other rules that will be passed to safeguard all the Assyrian interests as it becomes necessary. The parliament will start to grow branches and um, offices and executive branches as much as possible, and basically will try to uh, bring an order to all our affairs. That's not necessarily in contrast with the existing Assyrian organizations, but it's basically a complement to what we have already. The parliament will be the house for all the organizations and political parties to use it as a best tool to achieve agreements and cast votes on the issues. And we hope that parliament will be democratic. We'll have elections every few years, and there will be term limits for people, 2 or 3 terms, and hopefully this will ensure a continuous democratic process. Thanks for your attention, and please send us your questions through our website. You can find our contact information or through our Facebook, and we're looking forward to use your help in upcoming elections. Thank you.